Welcome back, ChessBox Worldwide. We are diving straight into the early rounds of the prestigious KCB Open Chess Championship 2025 for the high-stakes encounter. On one side, we have the dominant force Peter Majur Manyang, the reigning 2025 Mombasa Open International Grand Prix champion. And on the other hand, we have the talented young Ugandan Byawaka Alvin Herbert, playing board 3 for WhiteElo Chess Club in the National Chess League. He's hungry to use this massive stage to score a stunning upset and close the 300-point rating gap. This is more than just a game. It's a David vs Goliath right here at the center of African chess. Grab your boards because this match is about to show us the more true heart of competitive chess. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment to support the channel and help us bring you more top tier chess from around the globe. In the white pieces, board 3 of WhiteElo Chess Club, Byawaka Alvin Herbert played c4 English opening, and the reigning Mombasa Open Chess champion played e5, knight c3, we see knight f6, g3, bishop c5, bishop g2, short castling, e4 dominating the center, d6, and after knight comes to e2, we see knight g4 hitting on the pawn which is on f2 because it's attacked by both the bishop and the knight, short castling. Knight c6 should have been considered, followed by h3, bishop takes f2, rook takes f2, knight takes f2, king takes f2, f5, trying to open for the rook, d4, f4. This would be a dominating position for black, sacrificing 2 pieces for a rook. In the return, he has a huge counterplay. However, after short castling, he played f5, d4 hitting on the center, takes d4, and knight takes d4, knight c6 hitting on the knight. Herbert went on and played bishop e3, but however, knight takes f5 should have been considered, followed by knight takes f2, rook takes f2, bishop takes f2, king takes f2. Remember now, king has entered into the pin, and after g6, queen d5 check, and in case of king h8, then the bishop will be coming into h6 hitting on the rook, rook f7, bishop f3, g takes f5, bishop h5 hitting on the rook by the bishop at the same time the queen. So moves like knight coming to e5 would be seen trying to defend the rook. This would be dominating for Herbert. But however, after knight c6, he played bishop e3, knight takes e3, f takes e3. These are 2 weak pawns which are happening to be in the center. F takes e4 should have been considered, followed by rook takes f8. But however, after pawn takes e3, he played knight e5, hitting on the pawn and also putting the knight in the center. He takes f5, played queen g5. But however, c6 should have been considered. Knight comes to e4, hitting on the bishop, putting an eye on the d6 pawn, bishop d6, bishop b6, queen e2, c6. After f takes g6, h takes g6, b4, queen e7, rook takes f8, king takes f8, queen c2. This would be a playable position. But however, after pawn takes f5, he played queen g5, and Herbert played rook f4, bishop takes f5, knight takes f5, takes f5, knight d5 should have been considered. For example, after knight d5, defending the pawn which is on e3 and putting an eye on the rook, also putting so many threats on the black side. In case of pawn c6, then this would be winning for Herbert. You play rook takes f5, and in case of queen takes f5, knight e7, forking the king and the queen, and this would be winning. Let's go back. After rook takes f5, he played knight e4, hitting on the queen, bishop takes e3, and after king comes to h1, have no time to win the rook because the knight is hitting on the queen, queen g6, and after rook takes f5, queen takes f5, d5 check, queen f7, blocking the check, queen takes b7, rook d8 should have been considered, putting an eye on the pawn which is on d5. For example, after rook d8, we could have seen rook e1, hitting on the bishop, bishop b6, defending all the pawns, and after knight g5, opening up for the bishop to come and pin the queen, queen f5, h4. This would be a playable position. But however, after queen takes b7, he played rook e8, and in this position, board 3 of WhiteElo played knight takes d6. And in case of pawn taking knight, then the immediate bishop pinning the queen against the king is winning on the spot. That's why he tried queen f2, played knight takes e8, played knight takes e8, and now we see knight g4. Intending to bring the knight to play f2, the very strong move could begin with knight f6 check. And in case of pawn takes f6, queen c8 check, checking the king and winning the knight which is on g4. Let's go back. In after knight f6, in case of knight takes f6, rook f1, hitting on the queen, after queen d2, bishop d5 check, and in case of knight taking bishop, then queen c8 will be checkmate in 1. That's why king f8 is supposed to be played, queen takes c7, and now in this position the rook has pinned the knight against the king, queen f7 and queen d8. Let's go back. After knight g4, queen d5 check, king h8, queen f3 should have been considered, but he played rook f1, queen g1 check, and it was on move 23 that Byawaka Herbert resigned the game because of this continuation. After rook takes queen, knight f2 would be checkmate. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in your games.